Okay, well, it's the day before New Year's Eve, and it's the last week of the regular season, so now we definitely have to know which teams are good, right? Maybe in 2026. Grossi Posse Packer Nation. Welcome to an episode of Podcast, the podcast where you don't have to do Packers name, but it sure does up. I'm your host, Tom. I don't know, man. Like, the playoffs are about to start, and I have no idea who's going to win this thing. Grossi, and today we are going to be breaking down and ranking the top 10 teams heading into the final week of the 2025 NFL regular season. That is right, folks. Week 18, we are here. It has been a long season. It has been a chaotic season. And after next week, we will know the 14 teams that will be trying to punch their ticket to Santa Clara and go to the Super Bowl. And like I said, maybe we'll figure out who's actually good. Before we get into the rankings, I want to do a big shout out and thank you to you all. By the time this goes up, we should be close to 959,000 subscribers. We are getting closer and closer to 1 million. We should be hitting it in January. So thank you so much for all the support this year. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to subscribe. It's free to do so. There's no sponsors here whatsoever. Always a free show. And thank you so much for constantly spending part of your day here, because I wouldn't be able to do this without you. So thank you very much. And I hope you have a great new year. Starting off with our honorable mentions. And again, this doesn't mean that they're 11, 12, 13. We're just shouting them out. You got the New Orleans Saints. That's right. We're getting shucked tonight. The Saints. We've been talking about them the past few weeks in predictions. I've been hyping them up on GPS. But Tyler Shuck, yeah, he really seems like he is the guy. And last week I talked about that Titans-Saints game was probably going to be one of the better games of the week. And it turns out that was definitely the case. Tyler Shuck throwing for over 300 freaking yards, had another phenomenal performance. His connection with Chris Olave has been just getting better and better as the weeks have progressed. And the Saints, who just had 2 wins not too long ago, have now tripled their win total and have gotten 6 wins on the season. Their defense played pretty darn well, but it really is just about this young potential franchise QB. And I also have to give a shout out to Kellen Moore, because he's done a great job as the head coach of the Saints this year. And it really just feels like they are turning over a new leaf heading into 2026. Now, they will still have some work to do. They definitely need to hit on some draft picks, and maybe they'll do a little dabbling in free agency depending on what that cap space looks like after some restructuring. But overall, I had to give a shout out to the Saints. New Orleans fans, maybe it is time for a new era. And in this era, we getting shucked.
They getting shucked tonight, we getting shucked tonight.
Then, I am in hell. I gotta shout out the purple incarnation of Satan, the Minnesota Vikings. And let's be very clear, I am not shouting them out for their passing performance against the Detroit Lions, because Max Prosper, that was not very good. But I do have to shout out the fact that they have this win streak going, and their defense has been elite over these past few weeks. With no J.J. McCarthy and Max Prosper really not doing a whole lot, that defense was able to shut down the Lions offense. They couldn't do diddly squat against them. They could barely run the ball. Jared Goff was having turnovers, and that Vikings defense deserves a ton of credit. Brian Flores near the end of the season, yes, of course it doesn't matter because they're already eliminated from playoff contention. Yeah, he's really turned that unit into something special. Van Ginkel has been having one hell of a year, and it's going to be really interesting to see how J.J. McCarthy plays in 2026, because if he is that guy, they definitely have that complementary defense. Now, unfortunately for the Vikings, and fortunately for me as a hater of the Minnesota Vikings, they are in cap hell coming into this offseason, and they are definitely going to have to make some decisions. But the little bit that you saw from J.J. McCarthy near the end of the season, I feel like there's some room for optimism for the Vikings. And so because of that, with great defensive play, they're going to be taking on the Packers, who are likely not going to be starting their starters. So they might even be able to get a win against the Packers this Sunday. And so they deserve some credit. I'm giving it to them. Now, I'll never talk about them again. And then finally, the last honorable mention, you got the Buffalo Bills. The Bills tumbling off the power rankings this week after the loss to the Philadelphia Eagles. And I got to give the Eagles defense a lot of credit. They played excellent football, shutting out the Buffalo Bills in the first half. And that offense was able to crawl its way back and was a 2-point conversion away from winning that football game. And so while obviously the Bills lost, and that's why they're falling off the power rankings, I got to give a lot of credit to that Bills defense. Yes, the Eagles offense has been inconsistent, to say the very least, this season. But the fact that they shut them down in that second half, holding them to less than 20 freaking yards, yeah, that's darn impressive. And so while there are definitely some flaws with the Bills, and now the Patriots have won the AFC East, it's almost as if the Bills could use a first-round wide receiver. I wonder if they have somebody on their team. Yeah, I still got to believe in the Bills a little bit. Josh Allen is still going to determine what the ceiling of the Bills are going to be in this postseason. And you never know. Maybe they're going to get hot in January and they can win a few playoff games. But as of right now, they are in the honorable mentions. Let's see if they can climb their way back up the rankings. Starting off with number 10, you got the LA Chargers. The Chargers tumbling a little bit in the power rankings as they lost to the Houston Texans this past Saturday in what was a tough game, as in the defense did not show up in the first quarter. They wound up locking in the remainder of that game, but Justin Herbert got sacked again 5 times as that Texans defense was completely relentless. And I have to imagine this is Justin Herbert when asked if he's going to be buying his offensive line any Christmas gifts this year.
No, I don't think I will.
Because that offensive line, they are not doing him any favors. And this is another situation where they were able to rally back and make that a close game. But some uncharacteristic play from their special teams, whether it's with their punter and J.K. Scott, or whether it's Dicker the kicker missing a chip shot field goal and an extra point, ultimately they did lose to the Texans. Now, the good news for the Chargers, they are already in the postseason, and Justin Herbert is going to be sitting on Sunday, so hopefully he can get a little bit healthier as he's been playing with a broken freaking hand. So yeah, he needs to rest up a little bit. And it feels like the Chargers with that defense can beat any squad in the AFC. Just when they are facing against an elite defense like the Texans, things are going to be problematic with their current state of their offensive line. But the Chargers still remain in the top 10 because I do think that they are a very good football team. We'll see how far they can go, and let's see what that first matchup is going to be in the wild card round. And they just got to pray it's not the Jaguars. Number 9, welcome back to the power rankings, the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles, great first half. Things were looking good. They're coming off a winning streak, right? They were able to win the NFC East, first time back-to-back champions in like 20 years. All great. They're shutting out the Bills, winning 13-0. And then they don't score another point for the rest of the game. And I have to imagine that Eagles fans are hoping it's not too late to get rid of Patullo before the playoffs start.
I want you to handle it.
And while I've definitely given credit to the Bills' defense, that Eagles' offense was atrocious in the second half. They couldn't get anything going, whether it was on the ground, whether it was through the air. The offensive line wasn't playing well. The play calling wasn't good. And it was just a hot mess. Now, the thing about the Eagles is that their defense is good enough to keep them in all of these games. I mean, yes, you did have Khalil Shakir wide open for that 2-point conversion, and if Josh Allen hits him, the Eagles lose that football game, but hey, if wishes were fishes, the world would be an ocean. And so for the Eagles, they are still contending for that 2 seed. If they wind up winning on Sunday and the Bears lose, they will be the second highest spot in the NFC, hosting all the NFC playoff games unless they go and face the 1 seed in the championship game. And so for the Eagles, this is it. Time has completely and totally run out. We're about to see how good this Eagles squad is and if that offense can step up in the playoffs. And if not, we'll see how far their defense can take them. But as of right now, the Eagles find themselves back in the power rankings. Number 8, you got the Houston Texans. The Texans coming away with a close win against the Chargers, another team that was able to score early and then didn't do a whole lot for the remainder of that game. You got to give a big shout out to the Chargers defense. They've been playing well all year, except for that first quarter, as the Texans' game plan was pretty darn simple after throwing that first long touchdown.
Want to see me run to that mountain and back? You want to see me do it again?
Hey, if it ain't broken, don't fix it. But the Texans able to get themselves a win. Their special teams coming in handy in that second half, converting on a bunch of field goals, but their offense really started to slow down in that second half. And that's really the only concern that you have about the Texans heading into this postseason. They have been climbing up the seeding and are currently the 5 seed in the AFC. And heading into the postseason, they have one of the most dangerous defenses, not only in the AFC, but in the entirety of the NFL. And it just feels like if their offense is able to put up enough points, like 20 points, they are going to win a lot of football games, and I think that they are potentially my dark horse for the Super Bowl. But for right now, the Texans get a big win over a conference opponent. They're able to knock down the Chargers, take their spot in the seeding, and we'll see how high the Texans can fly because they theoretically could still win their division. They just need the Jaguars to lose, and the Texans need to win. We'll see if they can make it happen in Week 18. But as of right now, the Texans come in at number 8. Number 7... you got the Chicago Bears. The Bears only falling down a spot after that electric Sunday Night Football performance. And I gotta be honest, Bears fans, you're probably not used to this passing game being so good.
What year is it?
The Bears offense was absolutely electric on Sunday night. And listen, there was no defense to be found. Let's just be very clear here. And while they were able to get a couple scores on the ground, their ground game wasn't the reason why they played so well. Caleb Williams was dicing up that 49ers secondary as they were able to move down the field with ease. They got some big contributions on Sunday night from both their rookies in Burden and Loveland. And thankfully, Burden, who went down with an injury at the very end, it doesn't seem to be too serious as they are going to need him for the postseason. And the Bears, they're kind of sitting pretty right now. They are currently the 2 seed in the NFC, and if they wind up knocking off the Lions on Tuesday, they will remain the 2 seed, and they will host the Green Bay Packers for round 3. Now, there are obvious concerns about their defense. That defensive line just seems way overpaid for the amount that they're actually contributing to the squad this year, but it does feel like their offense can keep them in any game, and considering their defense is constantly able to generate turnovers, they had a big pick 6 early in that game. Who knows how far the Bears could actually go this season, and I would say, considering where they were last year, this season is a major success regardless of what happens in the postseason, which I hope the Packers are able to beat them. But as of right now, the Bears fall to number 7, and let's see who they're going to be hosting in the wild card. Number 6, you got the LA Rams. The Rams were down 21-0 against the Atlanta Falcons. And while I was streaming that game, everyone kept coming in and going, are the Rams resting their starters? No, the answer is no. And unfortunately for the Rams, that team is starting to show some weaknesses here in the last couple of weeks.
What if this is as good as it gets?
The Rams, after losing an absolute heartbreaker to the Seahawks the week prior on Thursday Night Football, they lose yet again on Monday night against an Atlanta Falcons team who just keeps on winning ever since they were eliminated from the playoffs. But the Rams, they still have something to play for. They are still vying to get that 5 seed. They currently sit at the 6 seed position, and the only way that they can move up to the 5 seed is if the 49ers wind up losing on Sunday night against the Seahawks. But I have to imagine they would prefer to go up against an NFC South team, even if it is the Panthers who have already beaten them this season. But it just feels like there's some uncharacteristic play here. Matthew Stafford, who was the front runner for MVP, he had a really rough night with multiple interceptions. The ground game was good at some points, but Blake Corum wound up getting hurt. And while they did make some big special teams play with Jared Verse blocking that field goal attempt and returning it for a touchdown, it really feels like they shouldn't have struggled that much against this Atlanta Falcons team. And so ultimately, they wind up losing. And so yes, you could have been calling defensive pass interference at the end. They had multiple opportunities to win that football game, but they also should not have been in that position. And for the Rams, they looked like one of the most balanced teams in the NFC, and I still believe that. Their offense is really damn good, and when Devontae Adams gets back on the field, they will be back at full strength. And so we'll see what kind of noise they can make in the playoffs, and hopefully they can dust off these losses. But for now, the Rams take a tumble and come in at number 6. Number 5, you got the Denver Broncos. The Broncos. Whew, that was a close one on Christmas Day, and I have to imagine that Broncos fans would love their team to just win one time by more than one score.
How about new?
Yeah, the Broncos kept it real damn close against the Kansas City's third-string quarterback, and I know that creates a little bit of woe and anxiety for the Broncos fan base, but the good news, the Chargers lost on Saturday, and so they are AFC West champions, which is phenomenal for Denver. They've had a great season, and on top of that, they just need to win next week against the Chargers, who are sitting Justin Herbert, and they get that first-round bye as they clinch the number 1 seed in the AFC. And it's been a crazy turnaround for the Broncos this year, and I know that there's been a lot of folks who have been doubting the Broncos, especially when it comes to the offense. And while the defense definitely has not played its best ball over these past few weeks, they are still a very solid football team. And if they are able to lock up home field advantage, I have no doubt that that team can win 2 games and punch their ticket to Santa Clara and go to the Super Bowl. But in order to do that, it would really help if their wide receivers stopped dropping the freaking ball. Their defense definitely did enough to get that big time win, though the Chiefs were able to march down the field. But right now, the Broncos still have complete control over their destiny. Win on Sunday, get that bye, and from there, we'll see what happens. Number 4, you got the San Francisco 49ers. And I want to be very clear, their defense is not ranked at number 4. This is basically just for their offense. But the 49ers, has your blood pressure come down from this past Sunday night, as that was an absolutely insane game that featured nearly no defense, but a whole lot of offense. Brock Purdy, for the second week in a row, has absolutely balled out. He had 5 touchdowns against the Colts. He had running touchdowns. He had passing touchdowns. And this was without George Kittle on Sunday night. And they were able to get that win at the very end, though their defense, again, didn't really help a whole lot. But they were ultimately able to get that win over the Chicago Bears on Sunday. And now they have a date with the Seattle Seahawks on Saturday Night Football to see who's going to be the 1 seed in the NFC.
Hey, look at us.
Look at us. Huh? Who would have thought?
Not me.
And it's been a crazy season for the 49ers. And while they definitely have a glaring hole in their secondary, because I think anybody can score points on that team, their offense is so damn good. If Brock Purdy continues to play like this, and CMC can continue to be the engine that makes that offense go, they get George Kittle back, yeah, that's one of the most dangerous offenses in the NFL. And throw on top of that, if the 49ers win on Sunday, they will not have an away game for the rest of the postseason, as the Super Bowl is being played in their home stadium. And so for the 49ers, who have been decimated on injury, especially on the defensive side of the ball, I got to give them a lot of credit. 4 might be a little too high, as I could see them at 5, but their offense is just clicking right now. And again, it's without George Kittle. So because of that, San Fran comes in at number 4, and let's see if they can get the job done. Number 3, you got the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars were at number 1 last week, just taking a little bit of a tumble because I think there were some more impressive wins this week, but still top 3, pretty damn good, as they were able to knock down the Indianapolis Colts, and that Jaguars team put Phillip Rivers to sleep this past Sunday.
Could I trouble you for a glass of warm milk? It helps put me to sleep.
You could trouble me for a warm glass of shut the hell up.
And listen, it was not a pretty game for Jacksonville at all. Unfortunately for Trevor Lawrence, he threw his first interception in over a month, but this Jaguars team is still in really good shape. They still have potential to not only win the AFC South, they just need to win on Sunday, but they are still in contention for that number 1 seed. They're just going to need the Broncos to lose, as the Jaguars hold the tiebreaker over Denver after they beat them the past week. And for the Jaguars, they're just like any other team in the postseason this year. They definitely have some flaws, but I feel like if Trevor Lawrence is playing at the high level like he has been playing for the past month, they are going to win a ton of football games. And while it is likely that they will be playing in the wild card round, because I do think the Broncos are going to get that 1 seed, I don't think that there's a team clamoring to go to Jacksonville right now, because that is going to be a tough game. So as long as the Jaguars don't turn the ball over and Trevor Lawrence can find a way into the end zone, whether it's with his feet this past Sunday or through the air, I think the Jacksonville Jaguars are definite contenders. And let's see how the rest of this season shapes up. And like I said, maybe we'll see the Jaguars and Chargers part 2, even though no LA fan wants to see that. Number 2, you got the New England Patriots. The Patriots, they were able to decimate the Jets this past Sunday. And you might be wondering, Tom, why are the Patriots getting up this high? It was the Jets. And that's valid. And while there have been some moments where the Jets defense has actually played some pretty solid ball after trading away Quinnen Williams and Sauce Gardner, they just had no shot against Drake May, who had a phenomenal performance. And listen, after Stafford's rough game last night, we might have a good idea who the MVP is going to be.
It's gonna
It's gonna be me.
Drake May threw for 5 touchdowns this past Sunday, and with the Bills losing against the Eagles, the Patriots once again are AFC East divisional champs, so they will be hosting a playoff game. And for the Patriots, what a hell of a turnaround, man. Mike Vrabel was able to come in and completely change the direction of that squad. They went out and they got some protection for Drake May, they got him some receivers, and ultimately it has shown as the Patriots have one of the best records in the NFL. And while you definitely can make an argument that the Jaguars could be here at number 2, they both face divisional opponents who are down on their luck. The Colts, yeah, God, they have been in a downward trajectory for quite some time now, and the Jets, I feel like they always live in a downward trajectory. So I'm just going with the more impressive win, and that definitely was the Patriots offense this past Sunday. And so for now, I'm just excited to see how the Patriots are going to perform in these playoffs. I think they've definitely overachieved this year in terms of what their expectations were. And so yeah, we're about to find out if this team can win 3 games and go to the Super Bowl. Well, I do definitely have some questions about their protection and their pass rush. The Patriots have done more than enough to prove that they are a damn good contender this year. Now, let's see if they can put it all together and bring home another ring. And number 1, back on top, you got the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks able to get a win against the Carolina Panthers this past Sunday. And honestly, I just feel like the Panthers over the Colts and the Jets are the toughest team that these top 3 teams had to play. As the Panthers, they have been a thorn in a ton of teams' side. They've been able to knock off the Packers, they've been able to knock off the Rams, and at times they also knock off themselves because they shoot themselves in the foot. And that's what you saw this past Sunday as the Seahawks defense really was able to make Bryce Young's life absolutely miserable. He had less than 60 passing yards. The ground game wasn't able to do really a whole lot for the Carolina Panthers. And meanwhile, the Seahawks were actually able to find some balance on offense as they had a really nice game on the ground, multiple touchdowns, and maybe, just maybe, they can bring that into the postseason and they don't have to rely fully on Sam Darnold. Because if there's anything that the Seahawks want to do before making it to the postseason, it might be exercising those turnover demons.
By the power of God, I condemn you back to hell!
And so, as I mentioned, it is the Seahawks versus the 49ers for the 1 seed on Saturday in what should be an excellent football game. And while we're critiquing the 49ers defense, the only thing you really are critiquing about the Seahawks is those turnovers. What Sam Darnold is going to show up. Can they hold on to the football? If they're able to do all those things, the Seahawks are one of the most balanced teams in the NFL. And so after a big game against the Panthers, they reclaim the number 1 spot in these power rankings. And what's up next? To see if they can claim that number 1 seed. And so just to recap here, at number 1, you got the Seahawks, 2 Patriots, 3 Jaguars, 4 49ers, 5 Broncos, 6 Rams, 7 Bears, 8 Texans, 9 Eagles, and 10 Chargers. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Who should be on this list? Who should be off of it? The next time you see me for power rankings, it will be the wild card round. It's been one hell of a season, and we're due for a very exciting finish, so buckle up. It's playoff time. You know, find me at TomGrossiComedy.com, and a big shout out and thank you to all the Patreons and YouTube members for supporting this channel. And thank you so much for watching, folks. I hope you have a phenomenal new year. I'm Tom Grossi, and as always, go Pack Go.